$200 for the next year as a carryover. If you look right here, let's skip the anticipated income for a moment. There are expenditures, teacher support, I'm keeping the same as teacher appreciation committee, $2,000. Yes, I agree, Alicia, with the starting with more is good. Ideally, that's what I put for fundraiser. Usually for fundraisers, we make about, I have it up here. Okay, so let's talk about fundraisers. Usually we need to make at least $10,000 net. And that doesn't include what we spend on what we get from yearbook, because that kind of balances out, as well as what we spend on fundraisers. So we have to make a net of $10,000. But this year I'm just holding it at $3,500 is what we have to make to leave $8,000 if we run the programs as we're running them. If we make more than that, that would be awesome. And then we can kind of, use a little bit of extra money or leave a little extra for next year. But as I have things now, we have to raise $3,500 to run these programs, additionally from what we have. Okay, so if we go down to expenditures, teacher support, I'm keeping the same as teacher appreciation, $2,000, that's for the committee, and then the teacher grant that we always give to the teachers of $2,600 that gets split between the teachers. Yes, Carolee, just a moment. And they're going to talk about home readers. School programs, if you see, there's a couple zeros, the cultural arts. Last year we were going to do something. Maybe that might be a possibility later this year, but I don't think we can decide on that now. So I'm keeping it as 0 for now. And just so you know, after we approve the budget, we can always amend the budget, and it's not that big of a deal. It's not too stressful. So if we're finding that it's not working or that we have more money, then we can add places, and then I would just present it to you again. Battle of the Books, we give Mrs. B $500. I will check with her to make sure that's enough this year if they're not doing book fair. Health and safety, we didn't do much last year, but I have $250 set aside for that. Family life is the same. Special needs, I'm not sure what we do with that, but they're still at $50 there. STEM, we haven't done for the last couple years. I put a 0 just for this year, just so we don't have to, I figure we're not gonna add programs that we didn't have last year, but I wanna keep it on there so that in the future, if there's something for STEM, that we have a budget for that, a spot for that. Yearbook, $2,000, but that all balances out, we get that paid back. Child development, for home readers right now we have $750. And talking to the person from last year, if we run home readers like normal, then that'll be enough. We'll talk about it if we have to do something different. Reflections, $500. Music, we used to have orchestra. We hopefully will have that again in the future, but probably this is not the year to try to dive in on that. And then fundraising. Usually for fundraising, we put about $6,000 for carnival. Right now, so far, we're not planning to do carnival, so I just have a little bit of fundraising money, but if we do spend more on fundraising, we will have to make more, if that makes sense. And then our operating costs are just the same as they always are. That's how much it costs to run all the different things that we need to run and pay insurance and stuff. Anyway, so that's the budget for this year. That's the left-hand side. The right-hand side that Linda has, if you want to scroll back up, Linda, that is just the main categories. Sorry if this is super detailed and you don't want to know all this, but these are just the main categories, and that's what we actually have to vote on. Because within the categories, we can move money around, but we have to vote on this right-hand side, the overall amounts for the categories. So I move to approve the budget. Are there any questions or comments or?
Okay, I second to approve the budget.
All right, so if you guys want to approve in the chat, that would be awesome. If you do have questions, and like I said, this is always, we can change it. So it just needs to be approved as, so I can start dispersing some money for the things that people are spending. Awesome, thank you ladies for approving the budget. And thank you, Tracy, through Carolee. Okay, and the last thing that I'm gonna say, which we're not gonna cover right now, is I think Linda, well, she doesn't have me. I emailed some people some things. These are the basic fiscal management procedures, as well as conflict of interest. So you want to bring up one of those, Linda, and then I'll talk whichever one you bring up. And generally at meetings, guys, I only have to talk for like 1 minute, so I'm sorry. This is the first time is the most. Okay, so this right here, I sent this out to some people. I can send it out to everybody else who was on here. The conflict of interest, everybody who's on PTA is supposed to say that they don't have a conflict of interest and they're willing to follow the the ethics of PTA by not like promoting themselves or their companies, by not misusing the name, and things like that. I did include in the email the actual full document that has like all the things that you're agreeing to not do anything bad. If you have the ability to PDF sign and email it back to me, that would be awesome. If you don't stress about it, and I will find those people I definitely need to actually sign it. I would love for all the board members for sure to sign it. So that's that. So
May I make a suggestion, Shannon?
Yeah.
When you do the PDF sign, just resave it with your name in the save file, your name in the title of the save file. That way, if you ever have a question about whether somebody did, you don't have to look through all of them. You just find the one with their name on it, and you can say, yes, here it is. It's been signed.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, Corinne already sent it, and hers looks beautiful. So if you have a question, feel free to ask Corinne, because my Adobe isn't even working right now.
It looks like Cozy has a question. Cozy, do you have a question? What's your question? Oh, maybe not. Maybe she had one.
I do have a question.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There you are.
Having a hard time unmuting myself. So I know that Stacy every year buys the books and then reimburse her the year after. So the $700 that you have there, is exclude her reimbursement for the year?
So that includes so this is for the budget. If Home Readers is run just as it normally is run, then Stacy said you shouldn't have to spend much more over she spent like $420 or $30 right now of that $750. So there's about $300 left. And if it's just run like normal, buying supplies and stuff, it should be okay for this year. But if something different is chosen, some other different way, then it will not be enough. So at that point, we would have to amend the budget. I think that it's probably best to hold it.
It was just double check. Because when we talked.
What's that?
When we talked yesterday, because we had a little meeting among ourselves, my understanding was that we were going to have $700 left after she took her money. Does that make sense? So I was confused about. So, okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Okay, yeah, and let's keep it like this for now. I think that might work, and if it doesn't, then for sure later in the year, if you find you're getting up to there, then I will amend the budget and we will get more in there, okay? Because that is a program that we want to make sure is, it's beneficial.
Well, so we had a proposition that we were going to at this meeting, so we might need to reevaluate that actually today.
Okay,
depending on what we vote.
What Rana says, okay. And then the last other form, sorry, real quick, is the basic fiscal management form that Linda's going to pull up. And it's the same thing. It's just saying that if you handle finances, for sure, the executive board and maybe like the head of fundraisers and stuff like that should definitely sign this. Just saying that you're not going to mismanage the PTA's money and that you'll follow those rules. So there's also in the email that I sent, and I'll make sure everybody who's at this meeting gets that email. It just has all the policies that you say you'll follow. And then if you could sign that. So that's all I have. Oh, one more thing. Okay, and the last thing I have to say is I have to present my treasurer's report for July. And July's just says that we began with $1,200,696. At the end of the month, we had $1,200,696 because obviously we don't do anything in July. And that was at the end of July. So, okay, that's all I have to say for this meeting. Thank you so much, everyone. And I turn the time back over to Linda.
You're so awesome. Thank you so much for doing all that, Shannon. Also, I'm really sorry I was not recording the meeting earlier when I said that I was going to. So I had just started it when we were presenting the budget. So got it there just in time, I guess. Okay. So moving on to what's next, we're thinking that we want to turn some time over to the different committees for their ideas or suggestions and things that we could talk about and present to our principal. So I am going to just kind of go through our committees again. And if you have something that you'd want to present or talk about, please speak up. So I do know that Rana is on our chat already. So Rana, if you are ready, I can just turn time over to you right now, because I know we were waiting for you. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself. There we go.
Okay, thanks for waiting for me. I do have something to say. Normally I don't. Normally I'm not a person of a lot of words, but our home readers, there's definitely a lot of questions about our home readers, how we're going to run it. We know that it's a beneficial program. We've seen a lot of gains with kids participating in that. It's been super important to do. So some of our concerns is the logistics of trying to run something like that during a pandemic that is definitely affecting almost everything else that we do. So as far as like switching the books, there would be, there's probably next to no way that we can do it every day. There would need to be, books would need to be quarantined, and we'd have to figure out some kind of a way to send a bulk amount of books home, probably only one time a week, so that they could then be quarantined over a weekend, and then we could redo it so that we don't have the contamination of the bags happening. The bags also get a rest. Like there's just, the logistics of it would take a lot of thought and planning, some extra supplies and some things like that. So we have thought about that. Depending on what other options are out there, that is a possibility. The other things that we were visiting about and would like to present is the option of partnering either with the school or finding funds from other budget lines to run a digital leveled online library. We're aware that there are a lot of books available online. The one thing that we like about Raz Kids, and that's the one that we would prefer to use, is that it is leveled, and that provides kids books on the right level and a sequence in order to follow, rather than just kind of randomly picking and parents trying to choose what's on their level. That would allow kids reading in that manner for the entire school year. If we end up back online again, it keeps volunteers safe because nobody's handling any actual books. It also allows us to service the kids who are online already that are not going to be able to participate in home readers if we run it the other way. The biggest downfall at this point, besides not actually having a good book in your hand, is the fact that it costs a lot of money. So what we wanted to present here is it worth the extra money? What are some of the other thoughts? I don't know. I'll just leave it at that and open it there. Someone just asked what the cost would be. We are still kind of waiting on numbers to know exactly, but the way it works is there's a fee per class, and there is a school fee, but it is still per class, and so we'd have to have it done per class. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, I think it was $36 a class, and so in figuring everything out, it would be probably close to $1,200 to run Raz Kids for our K through 3, our online students, and our life skills. So $92 a class, sorry. So, thoughts?
So we talked before school started about doing where you give out 5 books on Monday, and then they return it on Friday, and then the books are quarantined over the weekend, and then they switch out in the morning. And so then you only have volunteers coming in one day, and then we did maybe, I think Katie was talking to you about possibly putting the books, their bin somewhere else, like lining them up so that there's more space and stuff. Anyway, so that was an idea, is just giving them all 5 books on Monday, they leave throughout the week, and turn them on Friday.
That's true. We have talked about that. And that would only require someone coming in once a week. Someone would have to collect it on Friday or whatever, and then they would have to be switched out on Monday. The requirement for that volunteer would probably be, obviously the regular requirements in going into the school. we'd probably glove them, maybe something, give them a little extra protection because they're reaching into bags and things like that. We just want to make sure that our volunteers can feel completely safe. And so that volunteer commitment, no matter whoever it is, would end up being more of a once a week thing, but definitely a much longer time because they're going to have to take the books out and change them up and whatever. And then, okay, Sam's saying that we do have the 5 books. 5 books, we do, most levels we can probably pull that off. We did have a lot of parents wanting like 2 and 3 books at a time per day, which there's no way that we can handle that. So we just have to come up with a good solution and inform parents really is what's going to actually have to happen, is that if they get 5 books, they just get 5 books. And that's what we can do, just so that everybody gets an opportunity to at least have books. So.
It looks like Alicia says she thinks it would be worth the $1,200. And she said, could some of the $700 budget currently be tagged, used for that, and then find additional funds? And Alicia, if that is the case, then I always could just add that, and then up on my fundraiser, then I would just say, I don't know. There's some chances that other categories will not use as much, but I've already kind of bumped them down a bit. So in that case, we would just say, okay, we need to make $1,000 more. So instead of making $3,500 this year, we have to make $4,500 to cover that. So that's where that would have to come from. Mostly we'd have to just fundraise more. My big question is that, I mean, I know some teachers maybe already have some things that they use. I think as a parent, I kind of agree with whoever said that they don't really use it. Like when they come home with books, my kids will read those books, and we will make sure it happens. I think when we had RAS Kids, a couple years that we did have it, I don't know if we really got on there. I think there's a couple people, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what percentage that would actually use it. And I think a lot of people would not use it. So the question is it worth the $1,200? If it's not going to, I don't know, if it's not really going to make all the people that we want to use these books use them. So I'm not sure what the answer to that is. That's a real concern, definitely, and something that we've for sure thought about. It's a concern. I mean, I don't know how to necessarily do that, because you can't weed everybody out and say, well, I'm not going to use it. But then if we end up back in an online situation and parents are looking for books, then, then do they have another resource that they can use? Will they use it more? I don't know. I don't have answers for any of that, but. Does anybody else have comments before I say something again?
I was just going to say, oh, sorry. That if you do the RAS Kids thing, same, like we had access to lots of books with my kindergartner, and I struggled to use it with a digital because I prefer to hold her and like sit on the couch with her and read an actual book. But could you, I guess if you did RAS Kids, we also talked about having an actual thing that you check off, or like, like making an actual leveled reader list. Like I know they're on there leveled, but like, and having an incentive, some kind of like, don't just go in and read a book, but read this book. Does that make sense? Right. Yeah, it totally does. My kids have used RAS Kids. It would take a little bit of work and effort to do something like that, but I think if we felt like that was valuable and helpful to utilizing the program, I think it definitely could be done.
Rana, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you know like about how many parents were willing to help? Like, did you get consistent help all the time, or did you guys struggle to get the help that you needed for those books?
Cozy is the best one to answer that one for us, because she was in charge of the volunteers. Cozy, do you want to take that question?
For the amount of volunteers that we struggled some. We had more success than actual struggles, to be honest. We are able to fill out most of the slots. We usually have like 1 or 2 that are not filled up. So where we have like 34 to 35 volunteers, not having volunteers for a couple of classes during the week is a really good turnout. And I don't think that the problem is finding volunteers, especially if we do the 1 day. I don't think we would be able to do 2 days, because we need to allow the bags and the books to quarantine for the 3 days. So we would only be able to do it once a week, where we send the books out on a Monday and bring them back on a Friday. I don't think we can fit more than just 5 books in a bag.
I'm not sure we have enough books to do more than 5 either.
Yeah, so we would only be able to do the 5 books. We were just trying to do an online option so that we could have that resource if we did go, if we had to do it from home. If we do decide to do it at school, I honestly don't think we can have more than we could only have like the one day where we change books, and we'd have to let the parents know that they only get 1 book a day. Go ahead, Shannon.
Katie Bowman just said, if memory serves, we only had about 15 to 20% of kids who were enrolled in Raz Kids access it. That's why they moved away from it, but that she's not sure if current circumstances would change that. Sorry, there's so many comments going on here. I'm like, yes, Kaylee, they are doing the library. I bet Miss Bowman would know a little bit more about what they're doing with the library. But what I was going to say real quick is, Cozy, we could also, you know how we have to let them sit for 3 days? I was talking to somebody and they said, and Sam kind of mentioned this well, if they only have to sit for 3 days, you could have a system where like you have a bucket for each level. And then as you take them out, you don't put them back. You put them in the bucket, like all the ones. So say if you switch them twice a week, all the ones that were used then sit in those buckets until, say, you do Monday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Friday. And then you don't put those back until the Thursday. So if they turn them in Monday, you put all those in their buckets, you don't put them back on the shelf. You put like 3 books in or whatever from the shelf. And then on Thursday, the people then reshelve the ones that have been sitting in quarantine. And then, does that make sense? And then put the new ones in quarantine in those buckets, if that makes sense to you.
My brain is not working that way. Because of the way I see it, I just don't think my brain is making the leap to make it work that way. So it either needs to be explained to me better, because the way I understand because I've talked to our library, the public library, and they let the book sit for 3 days. So if we did it that way, we'd need 2 bags per child. Because and we need to somehow find a way to sign the books off, because the bag needs to rest with the books, because the bag's been at the kids' house just as much as the books have. So to do that, we'd have to find a way to keep track of the books that they have already read, if they had, like, each kid had 2 bags. And I think that's way too complicated, because then the volunteers or us would be handling these bags. So they would need to be put, and we need to have like separate bins for them. So I think that the only feasible way, because then it gets really complicated to keep track of what books they've read, if we've actually have the 2 bags, because we'd have to check, and we're touching contaminated bags and books to do that. So I honestly think that we could possibly do it if we did only the 1 day, because we'd put the books per class in the crates, have the crates sit in the home reader room for the 3 days, and then go back and change them, because the bags need to rest too. So I'm not sure how we would do the 2 days a week. So if you can explain that better to me, where we don't have to have like 2 bags per kids or 2 sheets where they sign off the books, I'm willing to do it. I just don't understand the logistics of it.
Rana, what do you want to do from here? Sorry, obviously this is not my conversation. So do you want to say, hey, we want to meet? And my kind of opinion is that we kind of see how school continues to go, and maybe think about postponing, but plan on starting home readers and see if it works. And if not, then switching to something else. But I see there's some strong feelings both ways, that some people will not use it on these comments, and some people really want an online option. I think the online option, you'd have to talk to the teachers to make sure that that's, like, if they're on board with that, because I'm not sure who's in charge, like who manages the class. Would it be us, or would it be the teachers? So, and
I think it would be the PTA, because I think the PTA would have to set up the classes and make it run. It's not something that I want I don't want to burden the teachers. They have enough on their plate with. It would just simply be run by the PTA. It would just be just like the home readers. We would keep track of the levels. We would keep track of the papers. And if we decided to do, you know, read this book and check it off, and then send out, you know, treats or whatever we want to do for that. It would be completely still run by the PTA, and we would have that access and whatever, just because I just don't want to, I just feel bad for the teachers. I just think they've got plenty to do. So I don't know. We were definitely going to wait anyway until at least the end of September to get started, just because we want to kind of wait and see what's going to happen. We're all very, very hopeful that it stays in person. Obviously, we've all sent our kids back, and that's the preferred method, but there is the very good likelihood that it may not. And so we need to be prepared for that. One of the things that we definitely liked about the online option is that it still continues to service people, whether we are online or not. Plus, it reaches out to the kids who are not in person for one reason or another. So it was a way to help give them services as well. So I totally get all of the arguments there, and I understand completely the strong feelings both ways. And I don't want my kids to be on a screen anymore either, but if the library closes down and I don't have any other books, it's nice to be able to have some access to something. But I think what we do have to decide, is it worth the money? If it's not worth the money, is there a way that we can actually do it in person and make that one all work? And whoever is actually manpowering that one has to be ready to take that on too. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Cozy, Rana. You guys are awesome for doing all that research, and you too, Shannon, for that extra input. And thank you all for sharing your thoughts about home readers. There's obviously a lot of pros for each, and so it's really hard to decide. I almost wish we could do both, but then that would be really costly for like, hey, do you want to do online or just in person? But yeah, so we will, I guess, keep an eye out for where we are at, and you just give us an update, Rana, next time on how things are going. I guess we're just going to try it. Is that what we're thinking? We're just going to try it and go for it and see what happens.
I think maybe the committee, the home reader committee, should continue to evaluate, you know, and decide for sure what they want to do. Maybe talk to, I don't know, some people had an idea, like maybe try the home readers in one class, or maybe try RAS kids in one class. I don't know. So maybe the home reader committee kind of talk about it, and then have like for sure, like this is what we feel strongly about at the next meeting, and then we can decide to go ahead or whatever. What do you think, Rana?
Sounds like you've spoken. Thank you.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay, so let's move on to our what is it? Our teacher appreciation update. Heidi, are you available to chat? I wanted to make sure that she could explain kind of what she was doing with the teacher appreciation and SEP dinners and things like that. And also want to thank her for taking care of our teachers. Her and Shannon were able to put together our teacher appreciation luncheon for back to school. So really appreciate you guys doing that. And the teachers really loved it. I'll have to send you a picture of the teachers. It was really fun that they let me take a picture of them with their masks and everything. Go ahead, Heidi. I think you're still muted.
I can't see myself, so hopefully you guys can see me. But yeah, we were just discussing as a committee that, you know, a small group of us have done it for a number of years. And we have it all in our head, and we've taken lots of notes, but it's never good to have so much of PTA be run by a few hands. We need more people to understand and be a part of it and get involved. So we decided to kind of break it up into smaller sections, like because dealing with room parents or gathering room parents is so different than putting on Teacher Appreciation Week. You know, it's just different skills and different focus. So what we've done is just a second. No, I need you to go inside. Suddenly all my kids are right here by me. so we just asked the committee who's willing to do what. Let's break it up. So some of us are doing SEP dinners. Some are focusing mostly on the week of teacher appreciation. And then we have a few that are doing the home room or the room parents and kind of gathering all the information there and getting that running for parties if that's able to happen. We'll see how the year goes. But so basically each of us kind of separate out into a committee, and then we've reached out and asked other people who want to be part of those committees to jump on board. And I am hopeful to find a few new faces to the school, even some young parents with only kindergartners at the school who would like to come and be a part of it this year and learn and be able to in time take over for some of us who've been doing it for a long time. Just because new faces, new brains will think of doing things differently, and we don't have to do the same thing the way we've done it all the years. I know there's great ideas out there. So we're excited for those who've joined us. I'm going to forget some names, but there's Becky and Brooke. I saw that, oh my gosh, mine just went blank. A couple of you volunteered to help with the SEP dinner. So anyways, we're excited and we're hopeful that breaking it out like this will make it feel less overwhelming for the few of us that have been doing it for a number of years, and we'll get new ideas and new blood, and we will have fun with it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Heidi.
Yep.
You guys are the best. And just to kind of remind everyone, I know we met with Principal Bowman earlier, and she kind of just gave us a rundown about maybe the parties. But Principal Bowman, will you take like a minute and just kind of remind us like what you were thinking with the parties and the classroom help?
Well, in parties, some of that will just have to be a little bit closer to see what guidelines we have. But as far as like things like birthday treats and other stuff, the general guidelines, like if we're doing treats, which would apply to a party, it has to be prepackaged, individually wrapped. We can't have anything that multiple kids could touch that would be food, or obviously there's lots of extra sanitation and cleaning if we're doing any kind of activity in the classroom. We have to contact trace groupings, so it would probably have to be similar to what the teachers have done with their groups just for those pieces. We don't have anything really until the end of October, so I think we'll kind of address thinking through Halloween, just kind of depending on what guidelines we're playing with at the moment. But as far as like helping out in the classroom and working with kids or reading with kids, because we're doing that one-on-one, the teacher will just have a list, and then it's, you know, face coverings and masks and things, or if people are wanting to help with teacher materials and taking it home and working, or, I mean, we can play with that. But as far as like parties and things, it's kind of, we're going to need to be closer to the date to know what we're working with.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that. I just posted the link to the volunteer sign up page. So in case you all missed it, and I did find it, so there it is. So appreciate everyone who's willing to help out in class or from home. And then we did want to give Callie some time. She was going to talk to us about her online auction ideas. And just take it away, Callie.
All right. So my idea, creative as it is, would be to not have a silent auction. Let me give you some numbers. Here's what this is based on. Okay, there's real data in my sticky. Okay, so last year when I total up all of the donations that we received, all the gift cards that students brought in, that PTA members gathered, like everything put together that was listed in the silent auction, totaled $3,795. Okay, and the auction itself made less than that. We made 3, I think it was just over 3. Shannon, I couldn't find the real number. I don't know why. If you know, like, let me know. But I think it was just over 3,000, 31, maybe 32. So of that, the PTA gathered, meaning myself, Carol Lee, and those of you that helped and went out to businesses and emailed and things, we gathered $1,795 worth of goods. Donations from students, because we send out a letter that says, you know, please send in your gift cards. The student population sent in $2,000 worth of gift cards. And when I look down the list of businesses who were willing to donate when I contacted them or other PTA members, we have Discovery Gateway, the Aquarium, Provo Beach, Health Center Theater, Corn Bellies. They are all local companies. They are all companies that have been very affected revenue-wise by this pandemic. And I feel like our student population is very diverse, and we have probably been hit pretty hard in this economic downturn. And so normally I spend the whole summer collecting this $1,795. This is like 4 months worth of work that we've put in. And at this point, we've done nothing, because how do I call these businesses who aren't even open, who didn't even have their doors open, and say, will you give us some stuff for free? Because, you know, so, and I get that it's still a tax break and there's benefits for them. But I didn't feel good about doing that. So that's my really great idea. If I know we're hopeful that maybe we could have a spring carnival, and if things in January and February looked positive, I feel like we could try, you know, if you wanted to gear up and try and do a silent auction for the end of the year, I think that's a possibility. But right now, to ask families to not only donate things and then to buy them back, I think that's a really big ask right now. And that's where the bulk of our revenue came from. So there you have it. It's my idea. I think there's a lot of other things, because Carolee's the fundraiser person. I'm just the silent auction person. So I think there's other ways we could fundraise this year. But honestly, with our budget really high, I would say let's do a couple restaurant nights and hope that, because we're not asking for money all the time, that those are maybe supported bigger by more people. But yeah, at this point, I don't feel like it would be, I don't think we would make enough money that it would warrant the stress that we put on families to do it. I think it would leave a bad taste in people's mouths.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for giving us all those numbers and the research, Callie. Yeah, it looks like everybody's kind of in the same boat as you, like totally fine not doing a silent auction. And we can wait till spring to see, you know, what kind of funds we can raise. I definitely like the idea to partner with local places who would, you know, maybe split some kind of percentage with us on if we were to send them some business, because then that's like, you know, it kind of benefits both of us. As far as those restaurant nights, Principal Bowman, is it okay, like if we were to, because that's more of like promoting businesses through school, is that something that we can promote? I know we do Zupa's nights, but what are the logistics on that?
Yeah, we can. I think for families, knowing probably a little bit ahead of time, and then we can send reminders, because it's not a required thing, but it's, hey, if you're wanting dinner, you know, this might be a great place if you're doing that. If not, no worries. But if you're going to order food anyway tonight, this would be a great place to get it from. And we just kind of phrase it like that. I think we're okay.
Okay, awesome. So I guess Callie and Carolee, if you gals want to, you know, because I know we only do currently like Zupas. I don't know of anybody else that we do maybe we can look for more options for different nights, dinner nights that we can do and promote those.
And I know
Chick-fil-A is a really big one.
Yeah.
But
nice.
But do we, Katie or Ms. Bowman, pardon me, I'll be respectful. Is there, I know that there's money that we have to, like, there's a whole deal, right? We have to sign out when we do things. If we do a restaurant night with Chick-fil-A, that does not affect like the budget, so to speak, that you guys get from Chick-fil-A, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so it's one big, like, this is what the school can do, whether it's the school or PTA.
Yeah.
But I think, in working together, it'll be okay.
Okay, well, we'll definitely keep in contact if a Chick-fil-A night is one we plan on doing. So, okay, thanks.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much for all of that, that work. I don't necessarily have anything else that we need to cover. If there's anything that I'm missing and you gals wanted to get a chance to talk about something and I haven't given you the time, please comment now and we can address that. Otherwise, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. I know I wanted to end our meeting at 11 because I know time is of the essence for everyone. So going to give you a second if anybody wants to make a comment. Okay, so I will go ahead and move to adjourn the meeting. I appreciate everyone showing up and coming to our meeting. And thank you, Alicia. She seconds that motion to adjourn. So I'm sure that, thanks. I don't know if we have to approve the adjourning the meeting, but I'm guessing everybody's fine with like leaving. So, thanks. So thanks so much for coming. We will see you later and have a safe rest of the week of school. Thanks for all you're doing for PTA. We love you guys and go treat yourself to something nice. Oh, and Jenny, thank you so much for taking care of our minutes. I know that she will send out those minutes later on once we can get them typed up. So appreciate you doing that.
Hey, Linda, I know the meeting
Brooke.
just ended.
Hello, you're fine. I'm just here.
I just remembered this. We were in a meeting last, near the end of the year last year. I mean, before all that happened. And I think there's only like 5 people there. But we talked about doing like swag stuff and T-shirts for fundraising, right?
Oh yes, we did. Okay, so that is
still an option.
So that was the nominating committee, and I believe that we do still need to have a nominating committee this year. I didn't cover it because we went over time and I didn't want to, but we do need to go over like nominating who is going to be in our nominating committee, and we need like 5 people. So I was going to bring that up in our next meeting, or maybe just send it out in an email. But we did talk about that swag, and we talked to Principal Bowman about swag, and we were talking about like masks with like, the school logo and stuff. And she was thinking that it would be a great idea for the school to maybe do that, and she was thinking she would be willing to split those funds with us.
Did she say, hey, that's a really great idea, I want it?
Well, I kind of was giving her the space to just talk about it, so we didn't like just take it from her because they had already been talking about it, because we got the email from our PTA region and they were like, well, we already sent this to the principals, and I'm like, well, that's no good. Now it doesn't look like it's our idea, but like the principal's idea. And so I knew she would already know about it. So she had said that she was getting prices for all that stuff already before we even talked about it. And so she was thinking that they were going to sell them really cheap. So like for $3 to $5, but she was just going to keep the funds, you know? And I mean, even though she was willing to share the funds with us, I mean, I felt bad because I'm sure the school needs more funds right now with like trying to disinfect things and going through like buying masks for their teachers and all that stuff, that I was like, it didn't feel right to be like, well, yeah, we're going to jump on that, you know, commissions, like fundraising and stuff like that. Can we get $1? You know, so, but I think it like with all the rest of the swag, we kind of talked about like sweaters or, you know, shirts or bags. And she just felt kind of the same way that Callie was talking. Like it's hard for us to like ask parents to pay for things that are like, I mean, you could call them frivolous, I guess. When the economy is like this right now, you know, I would totally, you know, do it. And I'd be like, yeah, that's totally sweet. We could like support the PTA and get sweet swag, you know, but like, I know other people are maybe not in a position to do that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we can present it in our next meeting and maybe, you know, we could talk more about it. Cause I'm all down for like the swag stuff because I think it's fun, but yeah, I don't. Yeah,
great. We could even do lanyards. Like my daughter has a lanyard.
Oh yeah,
mask is hooked to, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. If we could,
yeah, that would be way fun.
Make those fun somehow. Anyway, yeah. Just I forgot about it until now. So anyway, okay, thanks.
No, that's a good idea. Thanks so much, Brooke. You're awesome.
Talk to you later.
Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye. All right, Jenny, it's just you and me. I'll see you later.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Bye.